What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another review. This time I'm jumping into Den of Thieves to Pantera. It is a movie that did come out earlier this year. I just reviewed the OG Den of Thieves, which was a Heat clone, but a really good Heat clone, actually. Really enjoyed that movie. But going into this, I wasn't super excited for it, mainly because I had read some reviews out there, and it kind of made me have to lower my expectations quite a bit going into this. And I will say this, it took me probably 4 days to watch this fucking movie. This movie is so freaking long. It's unbelievable. And it's just under 2.5 hours, but this feels like a 3 hour long movie. So what is Den of Thieves to Pantera? Big Nick is on the hunt in Europe, and he's tracking down Donnie, who is now working with like the mafia and trying to basically steal diamonds from the largest diamond exchange in the world. And that is kind of the gist of the movie. And I'm going to tell you, it's not even as exciting as I just made it out to be. Like, that's not overly exciting, but like, it's not even as exciting as that. It is just a all around bad movie from beginning to end. And I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. It took me several days to watch this. I think when you watch this back to back with the OG movie, Den of Thieves, that came out years ago, there is a huge difference in quality from movie to movie. Den of Thieves, the OG one, super fucking exciting. Has huge action set pieces that kind of fill the room with tension, and you kind of on the edge of your seat for a majority of that runtime. And you don't even really care about the 2.5 hour runtime of that movie because they're able to give you somewhat compelling characters in between, and the action was fucking fantastic. And this movie has none of that. It is just a boring slog from almost beginning to end. When the actual heist starts with like an hour left in the movie, it kind of picks up a little bit, and I kind of found myself like not as bored. I don't even know if it's a spoiler, so I'm just gonna go and throw up a spoiler alert. It was very surprising to me that they went this direction in the movie. So if you have not seen it and you want to see it for some fucking reason, then this is the time to go ahead and back out of this review. But Nick, who is Gerard Butler, he was the guy that was tracking down Donnie and the thieves in the first movie. He goes to Europe looking for Donnie, and then in this kind of like double agent aspect that they kind of bring to the movie this time around, Nick is joining up with Donnie to take him down. But for the majority of the movie, you think he's like working with Donnie and they're like besties the entire time. It's not a good storyline. Nick in the first movie, shitty cop. And now he's all of a sudden going to join forces with Donnie to steal some diamonds because he doesn't have any money. Like, the reasons that they give you for all of these characters changing the way that they are based off of the first movie is so lackluster and lazily written. Like, it is just funny to me that Nick shows up in Donnie's apartment and he's like, "Hey, Donnie, what's up?" And they haven't seen each other since the OG heist. And then Nick is all like, "Okay, yeah, I want in on whatever you're doing." And he just lets him in. There's no turmoil. There's no conflict between these two characters. There's no them talking it out to say, "Hey, I don't really trust you." He just says, "Okay, yeah, you're a part of the crew. I'll welcome you in with open arms." And it is just, it's baffling to me that they could not put forth the effort to give you a good, I don't know, a good scene between these two characters, to where Donnie's like, "I don't know, man, you tried taking us down with the first heist. I don't trust you. You're a cop, yada, yada, yada." And instead, it's just, "Okay, you're part of the crew." So I just think the writing, the character development, all are just so lazily written throughout the entire movie, not just the beginning of the movie. And then there is like a 30-minute spurt, I would say, where it is joining the crew and then him getting to know the people. They like go to a party and they're partying it up, taking drugs, and there's this romance B plot to the movie with Nick and this other chick who I couldn't even tell you the name of because I didn't really give a shit. And all of this is happening with like 30 minutes. And I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, why does any of this matter? Like, Nick was a decent character in the first one. He was an interesting character more than he was developed in the first movie. But now in this second movie, he is just a shell of that character because I just don't give a shit about anything that's happening. And I just don't think they took the time to really write out the development of these characters. You know, if you want to put them together, that's fine. But make those scenes in between the heist compelling, interesting. And they just could not do that whatsoever. I mean, he goes to a party and they legitimately just party. You could have cut that entire scene out of the movie, and I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the movie whatsoever. And then speaking of another scene that could have been cut from the movie, and it kind of highlights another complaint that I have in the movie. It's kind of like a snowball effect with just how bad or just how much I dislike this movie. Like, there's a scene at the very beginning of the movie where Nick's there and he's meeting with another detective, and this scene could have been trimmed by a lot. But they're sitting there and they're talking about zero sugar Pepsi. And hello, obvious ad placement, right? But this is just a taste of, no pun intended, of how bad the writing is here. Is they're talking about zero sugar Pepsi. That's another complaint of the movie. The ad placement is so ridiculous. There's Doritos thrown in there, and it is blatantly obvious what they are doing. And I'm not typically the person that really like hyper fixates on like ad placements and stuff like that, but this was blatantly obvious. Again, that's not a huge complaint. That's not something that's going to make this movie fucking terrible, but the scene itself, when they're talking about Pepsi and zero sugar and they're actually incorporating the ad into the movie, is crazy to me. I'm not a huge fan of just the storyline in general. So he goes to France to track down Donnie and the thieves who are stealing all the diamonds. And it just, again, it goes back to the point that the film is kind of lazy. The reasoning behind everything is so fucking flimsy. It's not even funny. And I would have just preferred them to stay in the US. Like, have Donnie come back to the US. I don't know, maybe have a B plot where, like, I don't know, like his mom or his grandma is dying or some shit like that. And he comes back and he decides to rob another bank or whatever the case while he's back. I think that would have been more compelling, and it would have also given you a more emotional beat in the movie, especially for Donnie's character, if you'd have just brought him back. There's no emotional connection between me as a viewer and any of these characters. And that's even after already spending 2.5 hours with them in a previous movie. And then when you watch these movies back to back, you notice the stark contrast between the two. It's like these movies were made and developed with completely different characters and a different crew altogether, because it does not translate well from one movie to the next. The character interactions, the character motivations, how they interact with other characters, all that is completely different. Like Nick and Donnie, their interactions are weird throughout the entire movie. It's like Donnie's laughing with them. They're like besties. They're partying it up. And it's out of character for both of these guys to be mingling with each other. I mean, Nick is the most untrustworthy guy ever. And he's a cop who tried taking you down and killing a bunch of your friends or thieves in your gang, right? So to me, it's just none of these characters act with any type of intelligence. But I will talk about the pretty much the one good thing, and I put air quotes around that being good. It is the back half of the movie, the last hour, and that is the actual heist. Like, it's a lot slower than anything that happened in the first movie, and I dig that a little bit, where it's not just super fast paced. They decided to add a lot of suspense to the heist, and I was okay with that. The actual heist itself, them escaping, all that was filled with tension, and then it was like everything after the heist, once they got away, then it just kind of ballooned into this bullshit where like the mafia tracks them down, and now they want them to join the mafia to work for them, and it's just, it gets overly convoluted towards the very end of the movie. But the actual heist itself was fine. It's nothing compared to anything in the first movie. I mean, when they're in that bank vault in the first movie and they're thinking that they're going to find out that they're not the security guards and they're going to steal all the money, and all that was so ripe with tension. This one never really gets to that point with the tension. And it's kind of sad because it's a fucking heist movie. This shit should be exciting. And that is just ultimately the thing that prevents this from being a good movie for me, an entertaining movie, because I can disregard the bad writing, the shitty characters, but where's the excitement? Where's the tension? Where are those dope ass action sequences that you had in the first movie? Like, where is that? You know, typically with a sequel, you're supposed to go bigger, badder, better in the second one, right? And this one never does any of that. And it is just ultimately a huge disappointment for me when it comes to these two movies. Like, I will never watch this one again. I'm not going to recommend it to people. It's not a movie that, well, I watched the first one, I might as well watch the second one. No, just skip it all together. But guys, if you have seen Den of Thieves 2, let me know down in the comments below of what you thought about the movie. How does it compare to the first one? And would you recommend it to people out there, unlike me? And while you're there, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button. That really helps us out. We're trying to grow our channel. We would greatly appreciate that. And yeah, guys, that is going to be it for me. I will catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.